No investigation is warranted.
The officers are not familiar with the law.
I can go 90 miles an hour. You can't. You can't do that.
This story is so important to me. It involves Dynell Lane, a man I've never met, but one who lives with a shared experience. During his deployments, Lane also suffered serious injuries that resulted in numerous operations on the lower parts of his body, leaving him with a disability that requires potential emergency use of a restroom. Texas and several other states have passed laws that allow people to use the restroom of an establishment if they can prove that they have a medical issue that has necessitated an immediate use of the facility. Mr. Lane was at Serious Pizza in Dallas on June 10th of 2023 and notified the manager of his situation. It was almost 2 a.m. and the establishment was beginning to shut down for the night, but they officially close at 3. The manager refused to allow him to use the restroom, and 2 off-duty Dallas police officers stepped in to talk to Lane. The officers are hired by the restaurant to provide security and are allowed to represent the Dallas Police Department by wearing their uniforms while working. Lane tried to reason with the officers and showed them his American with Disabilities card, but the officers refused to look at it or his other medical documents. On the verge of an emergency, he called 911 to have an officer dispatched to look at the documents and to allow him inside to use the facilities, but the responding officers didn't arrive until nearly 3 a.m., and as a result, Lane suffered a urine and bowel leakage. So he left, calling 911 to tell them that the officers were no longer needed because of his accident. But the 2 officers arrived anyway after Lane was gone, and at least one of the officers activated his body cam as they entered.
Yeah, my fault. It's always a video recording. Let's do it. What you guys caught making that one call about? Somebody calling out one of the systems. You
guys made a guy pee himself?
Yeah.
You guys wouldn't let him use the restroom, and then he calls back and said it's okay, he doesn't need to pee anymore because he used soil.
The video ends there as the officer deactivates his body cam. Because the first 2 officers weren't serving in their capacity as officers, neither ever activated their cameras. After the incident, Lane filed a complaint with the department, but as usual, the Dallas police investigated themselves and found no wrongdoing. Actually, they found no reason to even conduct an investigation.
We are unable to establish a violation of the departmental policies or procedures. As a result, it's determined that no investigation is warranted.
After the video went viral, the Community Police Oversight Board questioned the Internal Affairs officers who found that their co-workers had done nothing wrong.
How can you condone the laughter and the comments?
Of course, the Internal Affairs officer dodges the question and responds in a way that shows that neither he or the officers he was investigating understand the law.
His complaint was that the officers that were there when he arrived did not let him use the restroom there at Serious Pizza. The officers are not obligated, or they don't have any rules that say that an officer has to let a citizen use a private business use their restroom.
That is where he's wrong. A quick Google search shows that the Restroom Access Act requires businesses to allow customers with proof of a medical condition to use the restroom. That includes their employee restrooms if public restrooms are not available. But the IA officer is so detached from it that he even refers to the Americans with Disabilities Act as the ADH.
Is it a violation of the law such that the Dallas Police Department or any other police department would have the ability to issue a citation or enforce that law?
No, we'll have to dig deeper into that and find out the specifics about the ADH federal law as it applies to using a private restroom.
Are you saying that the officers are not familiar with the law?
I don't know how familiar those officers were with that portion, so I will not be able to speak on behalf of them.
So you're saying that the officers refusing to read the card as when he presented it was following policy, procedures?
So again, that's something that I'll have to review when it comes to ADA and how that is applied.
They are servants of the citizens. And by refusing to cooperate, they're violating a policy. And there was no investigation.
The conduct of the officers and the comments regarding what happened to the complainant, is that something that DPD would say is okay conduct?
We don't condone that conduct, but certainly it was outside the scope of Mr. Lane. He was not present, neither was anyone else present. It was between the officers there on scene.
So basically, if no one's around to witness the offense, it's okay. But even that answer is incorrect. In the video, at least 2 employees of Serious Pizza can be seen interacting with the officers during the exchange. Not to mention, now I've heard it, and it's my duty to expose it, especially when the officers knowingly recorded their interaction. In the end, the IA personnel claimed that there was no violation without having an even basic understanding of the law that they were trying to determine whether the officers violated. They also claim that they had never seen this video, which leaves the question, what exactly were they investigating? The Dallas Police Department Code of Conduct states that an employee shouldn't ridicule, mock, taunt, or belittle any person, whether they're on duty or off duty. So, regardless of the disability status of Mr. Lane, he's human. And to treat anyone this way makes these officers unfit for their job. Serious Pizza issued a statement claiming that they won't have those specific officers return to work there, but their own employees can be seen laughing about the situation as well. It's also possible that the Dallas police has video from the female officer as they speak with the restaurant's manager, and has yet to release it.
Councilman, good evening. My name is Dynell Lane, and I live here in Dallas, Texas, District 3 area. I'm here to hold Dallas Police Department and the specific local retail food chain Serious Pizza responsible for adhering to their oath to uphold policies, practices, and code compliance requirements of the federal, state, and city America Disability Act guidelines, also known as ADA. No one, including myself, should be denied access while attempting to give retail stores a federal or state identification card, legal, medical, professional documents, or diagnosed conditions to utilize their staff or public restrooms due to their disability. If a retail establishment chooses to ignore a person who is trying to present such documents, they should be held accountable, because this is why ADA is in place. While serving as a sergeant in the United States Army, I was deployed to Afghanistan, Kuwait, and Iraq, where I sustained lower extremity life-threatening injuries that led to me specific disabilities. Because of those wounds and injuries, I had to be medevaced out of combat and into a Wounded Warrior Battalion unit for 1.5 years, where I had to undergo surgeries regarding my lower extremities. My life has changed drastically, and has been a constant fight having to explain myself about my disability, just to get assistance from public servants and private businesses while I'm out and about. This battle leaves me in constant depression and suicidal at times because of the shame of asking strangers for help while I'm public and not having a normal life anymore. If police officers are hired to work for privately owned companies, I do not believe that means they only answer to the following company's instructions. Rather, I believe they should follow the policies and procedures that the police department has set forth for the protection, service, de-escalation, and assistance of citizens and citizens with disability. Change is needed if there is no such policy in place among Dallas businesses and Dallas police departments. June 10th, I have the issue, 2023, at Serious Pizza, with them refusing to grant me access to the toilets during regular business hours, despite my disability, and my polite plea for assistance from 2 uniformed Dallas police officers inside Serious Pizza. They failed me, and the Dallas Police Department failed me. 2 Dallas police officers discriminated against me and declined to assist me in bridging the gap between myself and Serious Pizza manager by not giving me courtesy of checking my ID and my supporting medical documents, nor did they try to de-escalate the matter that it would allow me access to Serious Pizza restrooms during their regular business hours. I then had to call 911 to assist, but they were unable to show up and respond in time. As a result of this neglect, I had to endure urine and bowel leakage while inside the restaurant. As a United States Army retired sergeant, I had the higher expectations from the city. Please hear me when I ask all to make change so no one with a disability will endure what I had to endure. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Lane.